How's it going, everybody? It's all facts. Hope you guys are having a blessed day today. Regardless of what you go through in the physical world, your spirit is definitely favored because you can see, you can talk, you can walk, you can breathe, and you can feel, and you can hear. Anything in this world can be broken down to these simple essences that God provides you with every single day. Take heed and appreciation for these things before it's too late and these things are taken away from you. You don't know what you got till it's gone. And you could live 40 years of depression, but imagine at the end of your depression, you break a leg, you lose your leg, you lose an eyeball, you're not able to see. And you would have lived all those 40 years actually realizing that it wasn't that bad. You see that? Oftentimes, we never know how good we have it up until the point where it's taken away from us. But that's all of us. We're all human beings. But when you have somebody in your life that can truly love you, and can truly give you the wisdom, guidance, and spiritual clarity that you need, give that person the same thing they're giving you. They're not asking for any more, any less, just equal to. And that's all we could ever ask for in this world. So please be thankful for the senses that you have. Because without those 5 senses that God provides you with every day, you wouldn't be able to go to work for a single day. You wouldn't be able to do anything for a single day if you didn't have those 5 senses. So appreciate it. Take some time out right now to say a prayer to God and just thank Him for continuing to live every day. Enjoy the music. This world is truly like just a silly love song. You know? The ups and downs in life, things that make you frown in life. It makes you come around to life. Sometimes we may just sound alike. The niggas know I'm down to fight. For every right into the night. Nigga, that's life. Silly love song. All about you. So silly. So silly. Just a silly love song. All about you. You. So silly. Just a silly love song. All about you. You know, I got a whole bunch of throwbacks for you guys throughout the video, so don't worry. You know, I think the most important thing that you could do is just to realize that the people that don't sell out, they're going to have a difficult time, man. Now, what you mean by sell out? Selling out, taking the easy way out. Things that go against your soul, things that go against your spirit for the value of money, for the potential of lusts, potential of love, and the potential for success. When you do things that go against your spirit and your soul for these things, you're selling out. People are always going to do drugs. But at the end of the day, if you're providing drugs for people who are clearly have their soul burning and yearning for true peace and true happiness, you know when you're selling them that they're not going to achieve that. And you're actually hoping that they don't fully achieve that. Because when they fully achieve that, that's when they put down the drugs. So today's topic, simple as it is, the government runs the drug game. We've been known since the 1980s, and even before that, that the Central Intelligence Agency are the ones behind the drugs, flooding the communities, and the ones behind the major drug dealers ingratiating themselves in the communities, damaging the communities, and tearing them up from the inside out. You will never be allowed to be a kingpin without the government's position. You will never be able to be a Big Meech, a John Gotti, uh, Frank Frank Lucas, Fat Cat. You'll never be able to be these individuals unless you work with the government. Sad to say, we all have that picture of somebody coming from the bottom and rising to the top. You know, in that movie Scarface, you had somebody just like that, organically started from the bottom and rise to the top. He was in the shack. You know what I mean? He just came over on a boat from Cuba. He was in working in a sweatshop slash restaurant. Making seafood or pizza or whatever the hell he was making. Him and his mans. Then eventually, he met up with another person that I believe he knew back from the island or just the community that he was in, and because he was in a refugee camp. So when the dude in the suit pulled up, you know what I mean, he pulled up with the Italian suit, you know what I mean, the Miami suit and all that. Said, "Hey, you trying to make some big bucks?" And the dude said, "Hell yeah, that's what I do. I'm trying to make some big money. I ain't trying to be this bitch working as a slave." Um, the man offered him, "Hey, all you got to do, pull up to this spot, give him this, John, and I got you. You know what I mean? A couple $1,000s, way more than what you will ever make in a couple weeks out here." You know what I mean? And Tony Montana, he took the offer. From what I remember, in that very first thing, like the man was, they pulled up in a low rider to the apartment where the drugs was being taken, where the transaction was supposed to be done, and all of a sudden there was a nigga in the bathtub getting chainsawed, getting his fucking stomach ripped out with a chainsaw in the middle of a bath. And I'm like, oh my god, what in the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Another nigga came out, tried to shoot the nigga Tony Montana as soon as the niggas pulled up in there. And it was basically a setup. But I believe Tony Montana made it successful. See, I mean, I know he did. He made it successfully out of there. Whether he had to shoot the motherfucker or not, I don't, you know what I mean? I didn't watch that movie a couple times, but I ain't going back and watching that bullshit right now. So, you seen from the very beginning of the movie that murder was an essential part of the drug game. Everybody knows that the committing of murder, point blank period, is a part of the drug game. And I'm talking the cocaine, the heroin, and all that, the ecstasy, those major drugs that really make some money. Those things come with a lot of blood. You need to spill blood in order to protect your drugs. You need to spill blood in order to protect yourself, protect your name, protect your legacy. And we're gonna get into a little bit deeper into that and break it down even more. But I'm just trying to give you guys a surface level character build of a drug dealer. Um, so Tony Montana, yeah, I mean he gets out of that first apartment where the first ever transaction John is done. He comes back. He gives the other nigga with the suit the money, the Italian looking nigga, get the nigga the money, and he gets some bread. Then they fly to, I believe, Colombia. They meet with Sosa, and they tell him about a potential deal in the future. All of a sudden, the nigga Sosa, he get a phone call, and then the nigga takes Tony Montana. And he says, "Hey, come chill. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about what you was talking about." And the other nigga that Tony Montana pulled up with to Colombia with, that nigga, he was in a helicopter, and that man got killed on the top of the helicopter. He got set up, just about 5 seconds later. So that's another murder that took place off the rip in that movie. After that, Tony Montana, he gets into business with Sosa, gets into business with another nigga that, you know what I mean, this goofy looking nigga, bald headed nigga, he gets to business with him. And the nigga Tony Montana ends up sleeping with his wife and then killing him. After the nigga took him in, gave him some bread, gave him a house, gave him a car, gave him access to drugs. Tony Montana fucks his wife and kills that nigga. So, you know what I mean? There's so many murders. Just this is just a movie, but this gives you a good idea about what comes along with the drug game. So Tony Montana kills that nigga. He kills the nigga that brought him in the first place, the very beginning, the very first drug deal. Tony Montana kills him. Then he kills the other nigga that brought him in and brought him a house and showed him how to really level up. He kills that nigga and he fucks his wife. Okay. Then later on in the movie, Tony Montana kills his best friend because he was, trying to marry his sister and do it the honorable way. Tony Montana kills that nigga, man. It was just hitting 4 murders right there, you know what I mean? And this is just a movie again. I'm just trying to give you a good picture of a drug dealer and with a movie that we all know. At the very end of the movie, Tony Montana say hello to my little friend. Pulls out the whole rack of fucking AKs, rack of ARs, rack of grenade launchers, and all that. And he just, you know what I mean? Because the nigga Sosa came through and he sent a whole army at this nigga. Tony Montana kills about 25 of them. You know what I mean? Big ass guns, big ass explosions. At the very end, the nigga that look like Morpheus pulls up, you know what I mean, from the back of the window, takes a shotgun, and blows fucking 55 holes in his back. And he ends up in the pool. So that's Tony Montana, drug dealer life. I mean, that's the lifestyle right there at the top level. You will always see at these movies the people who are not fully in with the government and fully in with the people who run the country and all that. They have potential to be clipped at any time. So just be very mindful of that. Even if you a top kingpin of your whole city, you will get clipped if you're not with the police government system. That's just point blank period. You're not going to be able to avoid these issues, avoid these problems. But that's the life of a drug dealer like that. Like that's just a movie, but like in the actual hoods and the actual communities, I can't say that it doesn't mirror that murder, that killing, that violence, that protecting your hood, protecting your property, protecting these things are not a basic avenue of or aspect of drug dealing, because it is. So are you willing to commit murders? Are you willing to burn an eternal fire for you to gain some money selling drugs? Are we that low in the community? Are we that low in morality Are we that low as human beings that we will throw it all away for the potential to make a little bit of a couple thousands? It's very sickening. Imagine if we had a sense of peace, a sense of accomplishment, and a sense of satisfaction by just saving up our money and being smart with it. Working not a 9 to 5 if you don't want to work a 9 to 5, but to get a particular trade or particular skill where you can run your own thing and have your own business. If we had these things in our lives and we were satisfied with these things in our lives, we wouldn't resort to murder for a couple thousand. So here's the meat and the potatoes of this video. I want to tell you guys that the people at the very top of all organizations, whether they be mafia, Mexican mafia, Italian mafia, Chinese mafia, any kind of major organization, gang, particularly gangs, I want you to know that people at the top are with the government. They are not going to allow people to accumulate millions upon millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they don't know about it. Trust me. They have ways of monitoring you through your phone. They have ways of monitoring you through your street lights. They have ways of monitoring you through your computers, through your laptops, through your television screens. They were able to do it 50 years ago. The technology you see in the Jetsons and that shit was like the 70s or the 60s or whatever. They had those motherfuckers. They just wasn't given access to us for us to see it and for us to be aware that they're using these things. For example, they had electric cars in the 70s. They had electric cars in the 80s. They had electric cars in the 90s. But guess what? It wasn't time for the gasoline companies and the oil companies and the car companies. It wasn't that time to give up the mantle of this is what people are going to use. But they had the technology. Think about it. Airbags. They had airbags in the 80s. They had airbags in the 90s. But it wasn't the time for them to dish out this technology for you to be able to use. We need to be able to, the government saying, we need to be able to milk out these gasoline cars, these cars that will break down over time. We need to milk these things out. It all is a business. So we're not going to come up with something that is a solution to this if we want the problem to proceed for us to make money in it. You see that in the prison system. You see that in the crime system overall. The government is not going to bring a solution. It's going to bring a problem, then bring a solution to the problem, but they're going to create the problem regardless. And there's no problem with them continuously making money off of the same thing. When they was having the radio like that, they had a radio in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. That was the shit. The radio. You know what I mean? 20s, 10s. That shit was the radio. Radio had that motherfucker locked down. You wanted to listen to the news. You wanted to find out what the hell was happening in the world. You wanted to listen to some music. You wanted to dish out a message to the public. You had to go through the radio. They had that motherfucker locked down. So it wasn't time for them to come out with TVs. It wasn't time for them to come out with the cameras. It wasn't time for them to come out with these different things that we have, the cell phones, at that time, because they need to milk out the radio. If I come through with a TV that could play music, that could play, television programs and entertainment at a whole new level, the radio system business is gonna go kaput. And we need about 30 to 40 more years of that, of milking that out. So that's the way the government works. So don't think that the government only has control over these things. They also have control over the drugs. I'm telling you. The people who own them farms, they don't get nothing. The government takes that shit from them. I'm trying to tell you, man. You're not gonna be able to go on Discovery Channel or whatever Vice and have people recording illegal shit for millions of people to watch and to expect the government to not be there and taking those things and to see those things. They're gonna they're gonna lock that shit down regardless. So, just how dumb do you think the government is, man? You really think that they're gonna have people who are anonymously telling their stories about how they sold drugs throughout the world and not say the Vice who is that motherfucker that you interviewed? Are you serious? Are you serious? But hey, you know, it's just a big game. It's just a big pyramid at the top. The government is always going to be at the top at any industry. Water, food, basic necessities the government owns 100%. So you don't think the government also owns the electronics? You don't think the government also owns the drugs? You don't think the government also owns and controls and locks down and profits from alcohol? You already know that. You wouldn't be able to sell it if you didn't have approval of them. Come on now. Be very mindful of this. I'm just saying to you guys that if you choose to be involved in the drug game, you're setting yourself up for failure because at the top, as you continue to make money, you could do it for 5 years. You could do it for 10 years. You could do it for 15 years. You could do it for 20 years. All it takes is that one time that the government wants to pull your card and pull your jacket and say, hey, we know what you've been doing. You sold it to us for 5 years. You sold it to us for 3 years already. We got you locked down. Come work for us or go sit in jail for 50 years. What do you think most people are going to do? It's sad, but it's the truth of the matter. That's the way that it is. You can't change it, man. They've been had the drugs locked down. They've been had them locked down, man. And now the government has the weed game locked down. You already know that, man. They wouldn't be able to have dispensaries without the government's approval, without the government taxing it. They could do that with anything. I'm trying to tell you. So, if you know anybody in the drug game, let them know that if you're not willing to join the government, if you're not willing to join the police, you're not willing to join organizations, you're never going to have a long-term success that you can appreciate. You'll just get a short amount of time where you can enjoy your cash. Sad to say, that's the way that it is. Nobody can change it. It's very sad, but I don't know what to tell you. Now, of course, there's going to be comments and saying, hey, I've been doing this. I ain't get caught. But damn, I ain't never heard of a 50-year-old drug dealer. I ain't never heard of a 60-year-old drug dealer. I ain't never heard of a 70-year-old drug dealer. I haven't. You know what I mean? El Chapo, the oldest nigga. You know damn well this nigga work with the government. So, if you're just please, man, get out of the drug game. Please. Make today your last sale. Make your last grab or your last flip today and get it immediately. And get yourself a 9 to 5. Get yourself a job or a trade that you can save your money in. Save your money each and every time you get paid. Save your money. Do it the legal way. That way they can't take you down. We all wanted to be 50 Cent. We all want to be Tony Montana. We all want to be Jay-Z. We all want to make enough money where we can be a kingpin, but I'm trying to tell you, man, government housing things all locked down. You can't take drug money and take $100,000 in cash and be like, hey, I'm buying a house. Now I need a loan from the bank for the other mortgage on the other 50% of the house. They're gonna say, how the fuck you get $100,000 with no job? Come on now. How the hell you get a Mercedes Benz brand new John with no job? How the hell you riding in a boat in Miami with no job? The government has it locked down. We are all monitored. We are all surveillanced. And we are all pushed into working a meaningless job. But whatever meaningless job you have, the meaning could be what it means to you on the inside. Are you able to help your family? Are you able to provide food for your family, shelter for your family, and provide love for your family? If you have these things, you don't need a big mansion. You don't need a top level apartment. You don't need these things in order to be a successful person or a successful father or mother. You don't need to live in luxury in order to have success or to feel success. What you need is to take the little things that you have and make them luxury. Make your smile luxury. Make your body luxury. Make your skin luxury. Make the way that you speak to others and have respect for others. Make that be a luxury. Those are things that are priceless. So please, leave the drug game. Get a 9 to 5. Go legal. Get a trade. And have success in your own heart, in your own mind. Don't wait for the government. Don't wait for the world. Don't wait for anybody else to tell you that you're a king, because you've already crowned yourself. And when you crown yourself, can't nobody take that away. Peace, love, appreciation, admiration, faith, prayer. Peace.